Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we uncover the stories that everyone's talking about, but nobody fully understands. Today, we're diving into something absolutely mind-blowing that's been unfolding right under our noses: the declassification of Area 51 and the government's UFO documents. Now, I know what you're thinking. Finally, the truth about aliens. But hold on, because the reality is actually way more fascinating and complex than anything Hollywood could dream up. For decades, Area 51 has been the ultimate mystery. The government wouldn't even admit it existed, despite millions of people literally being able to see it on satellite images. It was this black hole of secrecy that fueled countless conspiracy theories, movies, and late-night debates. But then, something unprecedented happened. The CIA actually started talking. And what they revealed completely changed our understanding of not just Area 51, but decades of UFO sightings across America. But here's the crazy part. This isn't just about one facility in the Nevada desert. This is about a systematic campaign of secrecy, misdirection, and yes, even fake UFO stories that the government deliberately spread to protect some of the most advanced military technology ever created. So buckle up, because we're about to take a journey through one of the most incredible cover-ups in modern history and how it's finally coming to light. The story really begins in 2013 with something that should have been front-page news everywhere. After years of total denial, the CIA finally acknowledged the existence of Area 51 in newly declassified documents. This wasn't some dramatic press conference or leaked whistleblower testimony. It was actually the result of a Freedom of Information Act request filed way back in 2005 by researcher Jeffrey Richelson at George Washington University's National Security Archive. Now, Richelson had actually seen this CIA history of the U-2 spy plane program before, back in 2002, but every single mention of Area 51 had been completely redacted, just black bars where the location should be. But when he requested the same document again in 2005, something had changed. By 2013, the CIA was ready to let the cat out of the bag. Suddenly, those black bars were gone, and there it was in official government documents. Area 51, acknowledged to exist, complete with maps and operational details. But this was just the beginning. What these documents revealed was absolutely fascinating. Area 51, officially known as Groom Lake, wasn't built for studying crashed alien spacecraft. It was built in 1955 as the ultimate testing ground for some of the most advanced aircraft ever conceived. We're talking about the U-2 spy plane, which could fly at altitudes of over 60,000 feet, twice as high as any other aircraft at the time. And here's where it gets really interesting. Remember all those UFO sightings from the 1950s and 60s? All those reports of mysterious silver discs flying impossibly high and fast across the sky? Well, according to the declassified documents, many of those weren't extraterrestrial visitors at all. They were test flights of classified U.S. aircraft. Picture this. It's the late 1950s, and commercial aircraft are flying at around 20,000 feet, while military planes max out at about 40,000 feet. Then, suddenly, airline pilots flying west in the evening start seeing these bizarre silver objects streaking across the sky at 60,000 feet, reflecting the setting sun and appearing to glow like fire. Of course, they thought they were seeing something otherworldly. The U-2's unprecedented altitude and distinctive silver wings created the perfect conditions for UFO reports. But the government couldn't exactly come out and say, hey, those aren't aliens. There are top-secret spy planes that we're using to photograph Soviet military installations. So they did what any secretive government agency would do. They let people believe in UFOs rather than reveal classified military operations. The Air Force's Project Blue Book, which investigated UFO sightings, would quietly cross-check U-2 flight records to eliminate reports that matched known test flights, but they couldn't tell the people who filed the reports what they had actually seen. The secrecy only intensified as Area 51 became the testing ground for even more advanced aircraft. After the U-2 came Project Oxcart, which developed the A-12 reconnaissance aircraft, the predecessor to the famous SR-71 Blackbird. This thing could fly at over Mach 3 faster than a bullet, with a titanium body that would reflect sunlight in ways that could make anyone think they were seeing a UFO. And this is where the story takes an even more incredible turn. According to a 2024 Pentagon report by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, basically the government's official UFO investigation unit, The military didn't just passively let people believe in UFOs. They actively promoted UFO stories to protect classified programs. We're talking about a deliberate disinformation campaign where the military would plant fake UFO photos, create false briefings, and spread alien conspiracy theories to keep people from looking too closely at their actual secret projects. One of the most shocking examples involves an Air Force colonel who, in the 1980s, literally handed fake photos of flying saucers to a bar owner near Area 51. This wasn't some rogue operation. This was policy. The government found that UFO conspiracies were the perfect cover for their black projects because they made anyone asking questions look like a crazy conspiracy theorist. They even went so far as to create fictional alien investigation programs as part of hazing rituals for new personnel. There was something called Yankee Blue that was presented to at least a dozen military personnel as a real alien research program, when it was actually just an elaborate prank to mess with newcomers. Can you imagine being told you're going to work on studying recovered alien technology, only to find out later it was all a joke? But here's what makes this story so relevant right now. We're living through the biggest shift in government UFO disclosure in modern history. The 2024 National Defense Authorization Act has completely changed the game. It requires the National Archives to establish something called the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Records Collection. Basically a central repository for all government UFO-related documents that must be made public by September 2025. This isn't just about old documents either. Federal agencies are now required to review, identify, and organize every UAP record they have and transfer them to the National Archives. We're talking about potentially thousands of previously classified documents, videos, and reports that will become publicly available for the first time in history. And Congress isn't messing around with this. There are multiple bills moving through the House and Senate right now, including the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025 and the UAP Transparency Act, that would require even more comprehensive disclosure. Some of these bills would mandate that UAP records be released within 25 years unless the president personally certifies a clear national security reason for keeping them classified. They've even introduced the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act, specifically designed to protect people who want to come forward with information about government UFO programs without fear of retaliation. This is creating an environment where more insiders are willing to share what they know, and we're starting to see some incredible testimony from military personnel and government officials. At the same time, we're seeing regular congressional hearings where military witnesses are testifying under oath about encounters with objects that seem to defy the laws of physics. We're talking about craft that can make 90-degree turns at impossible speeds, hover silently, and demonstrate technologies that are decades beyond anything we publicly acknowledge having. But here's what's really fascinating about all this. While the government is becoming more transparent about UFOs, they're also being more honest about their history of secrecy and disinformation. The Pentagon's RO report explicitly acknowledges that much of what we think we know about UFOs was actually deliberate misdirection designed to protect classified military programs. This creates this incredible paradox where the government is simultaneously saying, yes, UFOs are real and we're investigating them seriously, while also saying, but most of the UFO legends you've heard were stories we made up to hide our secret planes. It's like they're debunking their own conspiracy theories while acknowledging that there might be something genuinely unexplained happening. And Area 51? Well, it's still very much operational and very much classified. While we now know it exists and understand its historical role in developing aircraft like the U-2 and SR-71, it continues to be the testing ground for the most advanced military technology on Earth. The difference is that now the government occasionally acknowledges its existence instead of pretending it doesn't exist at all. The facility has evolved far beyond its original mission. Today, it's likely testing next-generation stealth aircraft, hypersonic vehicles, and technologies that won't be publicly acknowledged for decades. Some aviation experts believe it's where the military is developing aircraft that can replicate many of the flight characteristics that UFO witnesses describe: extreme speed, silent operation, and seemingly impossible maneuvers. This actually raises a fascinating question. How many current UFO sightings are actually glimpses of classified military aircraft being tested at Area 51 and other secret facilities? The government's own admission that they've been testing aircraft with capabilities that seem to defy conventional physics suggests that some modern UAP reports might be following the same pattern as those U-2 sightings from the 1950s. But there's also growing acknowledgement from government officials that not everything can be explained by classified military programs. The Pentagon's UAP reports consistently mention a small percentage of cases that remain genuinely unexplained even after thorough investigation. These are objects that demonstrate technologies that appear to be beyond current human capabilities, regardless of classification level. What makes this moment in history so unique is that we're getting transparency about both the cover-ups and the genuine mysteries. The government is essentially saying, yes, we lied about a lot of stuff to protect our secret programs, but there are also some things we genuinely can't explain, and we think you should know about both. This new era of openness has created some incredible revelations. We've learned that the military has been tracking unidentified objects for decades, that some of these objects demonstrate flight characteristics that challenge our understanding of physics, and that there's been a systematic effort within the government to study these phenomena while keeping the research classified. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, now publishes regular reports about their investigations into UAP encounters. They've analyzed hundreds of cases, identified conventional explanations for most of them, but consistently acknowledged that a percentage remain unexplained. They're even releasing videos and data about these encounters, something that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. What's particularly interesting is how this disclosure process is changing public perception. Instead of UFOs being dismissed as the domain of conspiracy theorists, we now have serious scientists, military officials, and government agencies openly discussing the possibility that some of these phenomena might represent technologies of unknown origin. The implications are staggering when you really think about it. If even a small percentage of these UAP cases represent genuinely non-human technology, it would be the biggest story in human history. And if they're all advanced military projects, either ours or belonging to other nations, that's also a massive story about the current state of aerospace technology. What's clear is that we're living through a historic moment of government transparency about topics that have been shrouded in secrecy for decades. The systematic declassification of UFO documents, the acknowledgement of Area 51's existence and purpose, and the ongoing congressional investigations represent the most significant disclosure of classified information about these topics in modern history. The story of Area 51's declassification isn't just about one secret base in the Nevada desert. It's about how governments manage sensitive information, how classified military programs can accidentally create cultural phenomena, and how decades of secrecy can eventually give way to transparency when the time is right. Whether you believe there's something genuinely extraterrestrial happening or think it's all advanced military technology, one thing is undeniable. We're getting access to information that was completely off limits just a few years ago. The government's willingness to acknowledge both their history of secrecy and the existence of genuinely unexplained phenomena represents a fundamental shift in how these topics are approached. And the story is far from over. With new legislation requiring even more disclosure, ongoing congressional investigations, and a growing willingness among government insiders to share information, we're likely to see even more revelations in the coming years. The complete declassification of Area 51 and UAP documents might finally give us answers to questions that have fascinated humanity for generations. So there you have it, the incredible story of how Area 51 went from being a completely denied facility to an acknowledged part of American military history, and how the government's UFO secrecy is finally giving way to unprecedented transparency. It's a story about advanced technology, government secrecy, and the slowly unfolding truth about phenomena that have captivated our imaginations for decades. What do you think about all this disclosure? Are you convinced that most UFO sightings were just classified military aircraft, or do you think there's something more mysterious happening? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely love hearing different perspectives on this stuff, and if this video opened your eyes to just how much the government has been hiding and revealing, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that are shaping our world. Until next time, keep questioning everything, and remember, The truth really might be out there. We're just finally getting the chance to see it.